Okay. Oh, and there isn't a slideshow, I think, for this one. All right. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. How do we do it, Paul? What is it, Reverend Barbara? Welcome, welcome. Beautiful evening, beautiful day, beautiful whatever it is she says. It's today. And oops, my notes. I sure hope nobody ever watches these things in the okay. So that's our welcome, and our guest speaker today is Paul. He is Plan B. However, originally when he logged on and we were visiting, he froze, which means that Plan C might actually be Maya. So we're going to know that it doesn't matter about the rest of your internets. Paul's internet has to hold. Okay. All right. Who is Nancy, do you know who's doing the treatment and meditation? You're a little early, Maya. Wait your turn. No? Anybody?
Christine, James, Flaminia, and I see none of them here.
There we go. Plan G. Okay.
I can do treatment.
And I'll do a quick meditation.
Yeah, I'll do
Okay.
treatment.
All right. Okay, so we've got Kelly and then Nancy, you're going to sing us into the meditation?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness you volunteered. Otherwise, it would have been Michelle.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna go look for some semblance of a PowerPoint. Well, I don't know that we need it. She didn't give me one. Okay. All right. Kelly?
Okay, we're all
on
good.
three.
So let's just steep in this moment. Close your eyes, turn within, and recognize and know that there's just one thing happening right here, right now. It is that thing called life, that thing called spirit, that thing, that divine action that, regardless of outer appearances, is always operating at the highest and best. I recognize and know that this power, this presence, this love and goodness is operating in, as, and through me at all times. I know that because it's operating in, as, and through me, and that I am connected with that source, I recognize and know that that connection is with each and every person in this room, each and every person in my community, each and every person on this planet. And so in recognizing the love, the peace, the connection of spirit, and immersed in it with everybody here, I know that as we move forward into today's Froggy Friday, that all that needs to happen is already set in motion, that everything unfolds with ease, with grace, with perfection, that all that we need to learn and be open to is presented in perfection, not only from Paul, but from each and every person in this room. That our internet is stable as it's supposed to be. And that anything that is other than that is also the perfection that is God. For that's the way of life. That is the way of spirit. That as we may see some things that are challenging or not as we had perceived them to, that they were supposed to be, that it's all good, that it's all perfection, that it's all life in action, happening for me, for us, for our highest and best. And so let's move into this meeting with trust, with love, with connection, and with the glory of God. I'm so grateful for each and every person here. I'm so grateful for life and action. And so I release my words back to that immutable law that always, always says yes. I let go and I let it be so. And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is.
I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening.
Yes, we are opening down into that very deep center of our being. Opening to knowing the very presence of our essential self, spirit. In full wisdom and health. And we greet every expression of enthusiasm and love, knowing that this also is the face of God. And we breathe right here in gratitude, in community. And in that opening, we know that we stand upon sacred ground. Each bringing their gift. Knowing that together we are one, we are wholeness. We know life, light, love, and laughter. And so it is.
And so it is.
And
All
so
right.
it is.
So, those of you that have recently come, today, Reverend Barb is right now in Paris. She was going to be doing Froggy Friday for us, but she reached out. So our guest speaker today is Paul. And we now are, and Maya, she keeps insisting. She wants the spotlight. And then, so right now, Nancy is going, there she is. Okay, Nancy's going to sing We Are One People for us.
We are all going to sing together.
Okay.
One people, one strong heartbeat, just one spirit shining bright within us all. We are part of one another, born to each other when it's all said and done. We are one. Buddy, we are one people. One strong beat, just one shining bright within us all.
We
But
have
of one another, born to love each other.
when it's all said and done, we are one.
And when it's all said and done,
We are
one.
All right, this is the 1 1 1 1 1 1. There we go. All right, I got Barb in. Okay. All right. Paul, do you have any idea what you're talking to us about today? Do you have a title?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here, and I really want to bring in that element of Reverend Barbara. So if there is nothing else I'm going to copy her on, let me just start with this one. I love us. I love us. So now I'm Barbara. Now, my talk today is titled Perception is Everything. Perception is everything. And how I want to do this talk is I'll do a small explanation as to how I understand what perception is. Then I'll give a story. And then I'll read a text from a handbook, The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And that should be it. So, let me first of all, secrets. Okay, I want to give you a secret that you will use in this the next 15 minutes. And the secret is this: tell yourself, this is the best talk that you'll ever have. The message that you're going to receive today, you've never received a message like this one. Just tell yourself this and hold on to this, and you see, this will be the best talk that you have ever had in your life. Now, perception. What is perception? There are various interpretations of what perception is, but I understand perception to be what we interpret of the information that comes to us. The information that you get, how you interpret it, that is your perception. And please take note that the interpretation of that is an activity of the mind. So it has an element of thinking, it has an element of imagination. So when I talk, you are getting information and then you are interpreting it. That interpretation, what you imagine, what you think about what I'm saying is what perception is. And as such, perception is individual. It's like we all have different way that we interpret the information that comes to us. So we could have one reality. For example, it could rain here in Kenya, and we will all interpret it differently. I was surprised by the other day to note that nowadays I'm not so much excited by the rain as I used to. Why? Because I'm not doing as heavy farming as I used to do before. So sometimes even I don't notice how much it has rained. So I'm interpreting that information differently. That constitutes what perception is. And when I say perception is everything, I mean that perception is what determines our lives. Our lives are not objective as we may want to think. They are very, very subjective based on how we perceive and interpret the experiences that we go through. And the essence of this talk is to help us, help me also, to try and see that I can choose, because perception is something to do with your choice. I can choose. I can tune my thinking. I can tune the way I interpret information to suit what it is that I would want. It is something that is a choice. Sometimes we think that how we perceive things is automatic and like we have no choice. We have a choice. We can choose. And this is why I've told you, I've already given you a secret. Now, choose. Choose to see this information as the best information. See? So we choose. We choose. Perception. Imagine now I'm going to the second case, where I want to give a story. Okay? Now, yesterday, I had one of the very good experience of I experienced a minister, a CSL minister live, and this is the version of a minister that I would really want to embody. A very free minister. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of good time, even Reverend Barbara and Nancy. So we went out scouting to one of the places that we are hoping that the participants who come for the conference would come and visit. Okay, and for those ones who I may have lost, James and Billionaire, just remember, this is now part 2. Now I'm giving the story. Now this is a story. So this is now a story. So we went scouting. We went scouting for where possibly the participants would come, and just to see how it is like. It's somewhere out there. For those Kenyans who are here, they can relate with it. It's in Tigoni. And Tigoni, for you North Americans, it's on the highlands. It's cold. And then it's also very hilly, very steep hills. And there is a lot of coffee, not coffee, but tea bushes, tea plantations all over. So it looks very green, very green. But it's really steep, to the extent that some people may have a challenge like, going down. But now, the story is that this place that we went to see and scout for was not designed or wasn't being used as a place for functions before. It used to be just a normal farm. And the particular place that which held our attention and which the place that we were very, very excited with was really down. And down there is a river. Okay. So Kelly, make sure you come and see this thing like that. I'm not going to do justice explaining. You have to come and experience it. So down there is a river. And after the river, there is a fall. There is a fall where water is falling down. And where the water is falling down there, it's where there is a place where we had lunch, next to the river. You can visualize that thing. And before even we reached there, we had to walk to various places so as to get down there, meander, because you can't go direct. And in that meandering, you'd go visit, see the trees, go see where the source of the river, come this side, move. It was really wonderful. But now what surprised me and what I appreciated and that formed the genesis of this talk was that the owner of this farm bought it way back in 1964, 65, so I understood. Way back in the 60s. And he has long transitioned. And he left this property to his children. And then they subdivided. It's a big property and they subdivided. And this particular section that we are talking about was given to one of the daughters. And this daughter wasn't in Kenya that time. And why she was given this particular portion is because it was all bushy. Nobody even knew there was a river. Nobody even knew there was a waterfall, because it was too bushy and nobody could get to that place. And it was too steep. Nobody could get to that place. And since she was away, the brothers decided to have the best part of the farm and give her this one. And while she was away, COVID happened. When COVID happened, she came home. And when she came home, a year after COVID, I think her mother got sick, and then she decided to take care of the mom. And since we were locked in, we are not moving, we are not doing anything, she decided to explore these inheritance of hers, knowing very well nobody has ever gotten to that down part. She decided to clean up the place. She started clearing the bushes. She started redoing, planting trees, planting bananas, and she has done a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job. And that's when they discovered that the river flows in their farm, and there is a fall inside that, waterfall inside that farm. It was such a pleasant place. And now their mom is 82. And they told us that she celebrated her 80th birthday at that spot. And that's the first time that the mom saw that spot. All these years, she has been on that land, she has never seen this spot. They also told us that their dad transitioned and had never seen this spot. He has never seen this wonderful, wonderful spot. So it dawned on me that perception is everything. If you perceive your experiences to be difficult, if you perceive what you have and not to be worthwhile, so it will not be worthwhile. If you perceive it to be a blessing, it will be a blessing. And it dawned on me that actually everything has already been provided for. Everything in this world is already here for our good and for our benefit. It is us to change our perception and see, just like Terry put it in the prayer, that even that appears not to be perfect, it is that expression of that perfection in that form. So when we choose to see perfection, perfection happens. When we choose to perceive things as positive, as for our good, as for our progress, it happens. End of the story. Now, phase 3. Now I want to read something from Ernest Holmes. Okay? When you're doing these talks, you have to get something from Ernest Holmes. You have to always read something from Ernest Holmes. So I'm reading something from Ernest Holmes. So this is from page 1. For those who may not get it clearly, you can look at it later from page 184 of the Science of Mind textbook. It talks about the perfect universe. The perfect universe. I'll just read it, and I'll try to read it slowly. We must, this is how it starts, we must seek to realize the spiritual universe regardless of any condition which appears. If we would embody the greatest good, if the spiritual universe were not perfect, it would not exist for a single moment. The truth is invisible and whole. God is complete and perfect. A perfect cause must produce a perfect effect. Disregarding all evidence to the contrary. The student of truth, and that is you, me, and us who are members of this community. The student of truth will maintain that he lives in a perfect universe and among people potentially perfect. Even Michelle is potentially perfect. He will regulate his thinking to meet these necessities and will refuse to believe in its opposite. At first, he may be influenced by conditions and he may appear to be weak. But as time goes on, he will prove to himself that his position is a correct one. For that which appears imperfect will begin to slip from his appearances. To daily meditate on the perfect life and to daily embody the great ideal is a royal road to freedom, to that peace which surpasses understanding. And it goes on, and I want to skip and go to this other place which says, we cannot afford to believe in imperfection for a single second. To do so is to doubt God. It is to believe in a power apart from God, to believe in another creator. Let us daily say to ourselves, perfect God within me, perfect life within me, which is God, come forth into expression through me as that which I am, lead me ever into the path of perfection, and cause me to see only the good. By this practice, the soul will become illuminated and will acquaint itself with God and be at peace. Be you therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Namaste.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Okay, let me look at my list. Now is the question and answer. So anyone have any questions for Paul? Paul, would you like to explain the reading? Oh.
I forgot it. Normally there are no questions, so I don't think there'll be any questions.
Oh, it says right here, number 7. I wrote it down.
I just want to comment, if I could, on how here we are, Paul. We're across the country, we're across the world, we're across the globe from each other. And that was exactly the perfect message that I needed to hear. It was the practice that I've been in for the last 24 hours, is just accepting, not just accepting life, but recognizing the perfection in it, contrary to my limited perception. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for Paul? You know, what we had here on the 5th Sunday of every month, which I think happens 3 times, the minister wouldn't do a message. Instead, it would just be a Q&A. So any questions whatsoever, he would pull out of a hat, a basket, and then he would speak to it. So we have a ministerial student here with us. So it doesn't have to be about his talk. You can ask him, what is the meaning of life? Can you explain the way it works? Anybody question for the minister? Something you've been wondering? he can give us his wise wisdom. Well, we've been doing our job because apparently everybody already has the answers. Maya, did you have something you wanted to add today?
Not really. Maya is growing and she feels that God is within her and she's okay. She's perfect.
Okay.
Right.
Michael, you unmuted. Do you have a question for the wise minister in training?
I wouldn't want to ask him a question lest he takes the next 30 minutes in explaining.
Oh.
I just wanted to say that was a powerful talk, Paul. I really loved it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I also needed to hear that today. Perfect and timely speech. And it also reminded me of something. Let me just add that, and I'll not bore you with the science around it, but how our human bodies work. You've always heard of this thing they call receptors. We get stimuli, we see light, and we see, we hear sound and all of that. And that was the thinking that, what hits the receptors is what translates to our actions and to our responses. But there's science, some of you may know the book, The Biology of Belief. He shows that there is an intermediary step where there is perception. Like we have to interpret whatever is coming to us. So you could see the light, but then based on our past experiences, based on, our imagination, we have to interpret every stimulus. So whatever we see or whatever we hear or whatever we taste or touch, we have to interpret it. And so we all have our own interpretation. So for example, you see the bush and someone interprets is a worthless piece of land. Another one sees the bush, but we interpret it. So there's a scientific basis of our responses that is modulated by our own interpretation, including our health, including how we receive medicines or how we perceive all the stimuli. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you, Michael. James, you're unmuted.
Yeah, in fact, I found myself unmuted when when Michael was actually responding, and it occurred to me that, in fact, what Paul has shared with us, the universe communicates to us through our senses. And that is what I think Michael is explaining, that scientifically, all that which we see in the physical world communicates to us through our senses. That is how the universe communicates to us. And these physical responses are explained using the physical laws. And therefore, we find the physical laws to be very important in explaining to us the intricacies of the spiritual laws. And that is why Michael should not see to be boring us with the physical laws or the science aspect of it. To me, I think it is very important because we rely so much on our senses in understanding much of these things. And therefore, scientific explanation is very, very key, because we realize there is a lot of correlation, not even correlation, they are part and parcel of each other, that there is no contradiction at all in the scientific explanation and the spiritual happenings in the universe. It is quite thought-provoking, And I want to just take this opportunity to congratulate my upcoming minister in the person of Paul, our speaker of today. Thank you so much.
All right. Yes, Anthony?
Yeah. So Paul, thank you so much for that talk. And as you spoke about rain, a couple of things came to mind. And it's a story that's all about two salespeople. And so these two salespeople, one, and it's a rainy morning. So one wakes up in the morning and sees it's raining and starts cussing and says, "Oh, damn, it's raining. I can't do this. I can't do that." And the other salesperson says, "Wow, it's raining. Everyone is at home. It's a perfect day for me to go door to door and do my selling." So this guy who has, his perception is very positive about the rain, goes out and makes a lot of sales because everyone is at home. So perception is, that really determines our reality at times. And so thank you, Paul, for that talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Anybody else? All right, so number 8 is announcements. And we have 3 classes coming up. We have foundations, which we haven't had foundations. We had it, I think, last year. But if you are considering, if you've been taking classes with us and haven't taken foundations, but you think now, oh, I'd really might want to eventually to be a practitioner one day, foundations is one of the required classes. So you could sign up for that, even though it's the basics. And if you're new to us, then foundations is where you begin. We also have Reverend Claire's course, Walking on Water. Karen, do you want to say anything? Karen has read the book and the course.
I have loved Claire's writing. It's clear, it's simple, it's taking one story of the ship caught in the storm and they see Jesus coming, and she's broken it down into, did you notice Jesus was coming? Which is what we're always asking. Did you notice God is always there? And then what decisions do you do when you step out in faith? And what happens when you're called? And a lot of these classes call us. And I think that's what Reverend Claire is basing the book on is, do you hear the call? Did you notice the call? Did you hear the call? Are you stepping into action with that call? And it's sort of an exciting book. It's one of those books that you can read easily. And I know that Reverend Claire has sent several books over so that we have it both in PDF form and in the library available. So it's just an exciting class.
Okay.
10 weeks.
And then there's Valerie is teaching another one of her powerful affirmation classes. And I think it's My Personal Power. Each of these are created specifically for CSL Kenya, actually. Valerie started doing her journaling class probably about 3 years ago. And the people that have taken it really have found it incredibly profound. So she has come up with a different take on some things. And as part of it, there will be her affirmation, the way that she teaches you how to do, what is it that we're calling them, Karen? We're calling them intention affirmations. We won't tell Valerie, but we came up with a name for it. Now, Karen took Valerie's last class. Do you have anything you want to say about Valerie's class?
I really loved the process of how she approaches the affirmations, because you do it through claiming a God quality and how it's going to work in your life. You just don't say, oh, I'm going to find $100 on the sidewalk tomorrow morning. It's much more like, because God is the very essence of my being, and I know that abundance, then I can see it in my daily life. Big time difference in those two affirmations. So it's certainly a class that brings power, clarity, and spirit together.
It's life-changing, really life-changing, and it will get you used to the spiritual practice of journaling. So those are the three. The signups are in the student forum. And then next Friday is the first Friday again. And so it will be personal visioning. Our first Friday is always now going to be personal visioning, followed by a what if up circle. What if it all goes right? So we're practicing what Karen has been teaching this last 10 months of what, so you can bring a project, you can bring an idea, you can bring whatever came up for you in your personal visioning, and we will what if up it into possibility. So it's a very exciting time. I have to tell you that it was life-changing for me last month. Like, the stuff that came up was amazing, powerful. It's in process and it was huge. So that's this room next Friday, 8 o'clock. All right, offertory. Okay, I don't think we sing anything before the offertory. I don't have the affirmations, but CSL Kenya is based on donations. So in Kenya, you can M-Pesa it to Nancy, and our M-Pesa donations from the community are increasing, and that's wonderful. It means that you are stepping into the law of circulation and understanding that I have to give, that when I give and I give freely, then I open myself to receiving freely as well. And so it's very important to have that law of circulation. Doesn't matter whether it's 100 shillings, 1,000 shillings, or 10,000 shillings. What matters is I give and I open to receive. Nancy's put the phone number, the M-Pesa number in the chat. Okay. If anybody wants prayer today, we have what Barb calls a 2-minute miracle. The very funny story is that we were calling it a 1-minute miracle, and when Rahema was practicing as in practitioner training, I was like, Rahema, you have to slow down. She said, I have to, you told me I have to do it in a minute. I was like, oh. So we added an extra minute so that Rahema could speak in a slower voice. Raise your hand and I'll create some rooms. Okay, Mathoni, hang on. Who's doing the benediction? Christopher? Wasn't Christopher on today, Nancy?
Yes, but he's not here.
Oh, he was. I saw him once. Okay.
Too much rain.
That's great. Alfred, are you in a place to be able to benedict us out?
Yes, yes, I
Thank-
can. So we can send ourselves. I'm so grateful for the time that we have spent together. I'm so grateful for the message that we have got from Paul. And I'm so grateful knowing everything is working in a good way. We understand the message. I listen into Lord No, it is already done, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you.
So it is.
Kelly, would you like an opportunity to be a practitioner today with Mathoni? I know you don't always get an opportunity.
I can absolutely do that.
Okay,
With
all
my
right,
pleasure.
okay. So the breakout room, let me open the room. Mathoni, you get Kelly today. It's exciting. Thank you all for coming. So appreciate it. We're gonna have to come up with a closing song so then I can start singing it. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu. All right.
Thank you, Michelle. You were wonderful.
Thank you, Reverend Michelle.
Oh, yeah. Not happening, trust me.
Bye.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.